First contact. The massive holographic display aboard the International Space Defense Command, ISDC, station cast an eerie blue glow across Commander Riya Patel's face as she studied the incoming data streams. Something wasn't right. The deep space sensors had picked up unusual gravitational distortions at the edge of the Kuiper belt, far beyond what any natural phenomenon should cause. "Run the analysis again," she ordered, her voice steady despite the growing tension in her chest. Lieutenant Jackson, her senior sensor operator, nodded and initiated another scan sequence. The massive windows of the command center offered a spectacular view of Earth below, peaceful and serene against the backdrop of space. Riya had spent 15 years in the ISDC, watching humanity's defensive capabilities grow from a handful of orbital platforms to a comprehensive network of satellites and stations. But nothing in her training had prepared her for what happened next. "Commander." Jackson's voice cracked with urgency. Multiple signatures detected. They're massive." The holographic display exploded with new data points as hundreds of objects dropped out of faster-than-light travel. The Kraxan fleet had arrived, just as the mysterious message had warned them 3 months ago. Their ships were elegant and deadly, resembling massive predatory birds with wings of dark metal stretching for kilometers. "Sound the alert," Riya commanded, activating the station-wide communications. "This is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a drill. First Contact Protocol Alpha is now in effect." As klaxons blared throughout the station, Riya watched the alien fleet's formation. Their arrangement wasn't random, it was a hunting pattern she'd studied in theoretical xenomilitary tactics. The Kraxan weren't here for peaceful first contact, they were here to conquer. "Open a channel to Earth Defense Command," she ordered, her fingers dancing across the holographic interface. "And get me Director Zhao on a secure line." The next few minutes were a blur of activity as the station's crew executed their emergency protocols with practiced precision. Years of drills and preparation were finally being put to the test. But Riya noticed something peculiar about the alien fleet's approach. They were moving with absolute confidence, showing no concern for potential human defenses. "They think we're primitive," she muttered, a slight smile playing at the corners of her mouth. "They haven't done their homework." The secure channel crackled to life, and Director Zhao's weathered face appeared on the screen. "Commander Patel, report." "Sir, the Kraxan fleet has arrived. Initial count shows 437 vessels, matching the configurations we were warned about. They're advancing in standard conquest formation, just as the intelligence suggested they would." "Then it's time," Zhao replied, his expression grim but determined. "Initiate Operation Lighthouse." Riya's heart skipped a beat. Operation Lighthouse was humanity's ace in the hole, a plan so audacious that even most of Earth's military leadership thought it was impossible. But she and a select few knew better. "Initiating Operation Lighthouse, sir," she confirmed, entering her authorization code. "Activating the quantum entanglement network now." Across the solar system, hidden quantum receivers began powering up. For decades, humanity had appeared to lag behind in conventional space warfare technology. But while potential enemies watched for massive ships and powerful weapons, Earth had invested in something far more subtle, an invisible web of quantum-linked sensors and automated defense platforms. The Kraxan fleet advanced, their ships moving with the arrogant grace of apex predators. Their first warning shots were designed to demonstrate their overwhelming superiority, plasma bolts that could vaporize small cities. But the bolts never reached their targets. Invisible fields of quantum-manipulated space curved the energy weapons back on themselves, creating brilliant displays of light that illuminated the darkness between planets. The alien fleet's formation faltered for the first time. "They're sending a transmission," Jackson reported, his fingers flying over his console. The alien commander's face appeared on the main screen, a reptilian visage with iridescent scales and eyes that gleamed with cold intelligence. "This is Fleet Commander Zyx Tal of the Kraxan Empire. Your primitive defenses cannot hope to dash." Rhea cut the transmission with a swipe of her hand. Send our response package. A burst of data shot toward the alien fleet, technical specifications, battle recordings, and a simple message: you should have done your research. Earth is not defenseless. Earth is not primitive. Earth is not afraid. As the alien fleet scrambled to reassess their strategy, Rhea allowed herself a moment of pride. Humanity had prepared for this day not by building bigger guns or stronger shields, but by thinking differently. The real battle was about to begin, and Earth was ready. All stations, she commanded, her voice carrying the weight of humanity's future, execute Operation Lighthouse. Show them exactly what they're dealing with. The quantum network hummed to life, and the stars themselves seemed to hold their breath as humanity prepared to demonstrate just how dangerous underestimating Earth could be. The hidden defense. Dr. Marcus Sullivan stood in the heart of the Artemis base, buried deep beneath the lunar surface, watching as his life's work finally came to fruition. Around him, the massive quantum computation chamber pulsed with an ethereal blue light, its crystalline structures processing data at speeds that would have seemed impossible just decades ago. Power levels are holding steady at 97%, reported Dr. Aisha Rahman, his chief engineer. Her fingers danced across the holographic controls as she fine-tuned the quantum field harmonics. The entanglement network is responding exactly as designed. Marcus nodded, his weathered face reflecting the chamber's azure glow. For 15 years, they had worked in secret, building what many had dismissed as impossible, a quantum defense grid that could predict and counter any weapon system before it was even fired. The Kraxan fleet above was about to learn just how effective it was. Status update from the surface teams, called out Technical Director Jun Ho Park from his station. All lunar defense platforms are online and synchronized with the quantum network. We're getting similar confirmations from Mars, Europa, and the asteroid belt installations. Marcus allowed himself a small smile. The aliens had no idea that every mining operation, every research station, every seemingly civilian outpost humanity had built throughout the solar system was part of an interconnected defense network. While Earth's enemies had watched for obvious military buildups, humanity had hidden its true strength in plain sight. Commander Patel is reporting successful initial contact, Aisha announced, bringing up the tactical display. The Kraxan fleet is regrouping after their first attempt at intimidation failed. The holographic display showed the alien fleet's formation shifting, trying to adapt to the unexpected resistance they'd encountered. Their ships moved with less certainty now, their previous arrogance replaced by cautious probing maneuvers. They're scanning for our defense systems, Jun Ho observed, monitoring the sensor feeds. Using everything from quantum resonance detectors to old-fashioned radar. Let them look, Marcus replied, stepping closer to the main control interface. The quantum camouflage is holding. They won't find anything until we want them to. The chamber's crystals pulsed faster as more data poured in from the network. Each alien scan, each adjustment in their formation, every energy spike from their weapons, all of it was being analyzed and countered before the Kraxan could execute their plans. Sir, Aisha called out suddenly, they're powering up something big. Energy readings are off the charts. The tactical display showed a massive energy buildup in the center of the Kraxan fleet. Their ships were arranging themselves in a complex geometric pattern, channeling power into what appeared to be some kind of superweapon. They're getting desperate, Marcus observed. Trying to overwhelm us with raw power since their precision strikes failed. He turned to his team. Initiate Protocol Omega. Let's show them why quantity isn't everything. Throughout the solar system, quantum receivers shifted their focus, creating a complex web of interlocking fields. The principles behind it were elegant in their simplicity, using quantum entanglement not just to observe and predict, but to actively reshape spacetime itself. The Kraxan weapon fired, a beam of pure energy that could have vaporized a continent. But as it approached Earth's orbit, something extraordinary happened. The beam twisted, curved, and finally collapsed in on itself, creating a spectacular display of light but causing no damage. Perfect execution, Aisha breathed, watching the readings. The quantum fields redirected 99.9% of the energy. Marcus nodded, but his attention was already on the next phase. Begin active countermeasures. It's time to push back. The quantum network hummed with new instructions. Across the solar system, hidden platforms began generating their own fields, not to attack, but to contain. The Kraxan fleet suddenly found their ships trapped in bubbles of warped spacetime, unable to maneuver or bring their weapons to bear. Message from Commander Patel, Jun-ho announced. Fleet Admiral Okonjo's forces are in position. They're ready to begin the counteroffensive. Marcus took a deep breath, watching as humanity's carefully laid plans unfolded. The Kraxan had come expecting to find a primitive civilization barely able to reach its own moon. Instead, they had walked into a trap centuries in the making. Send word to all stations, he ordered, his voice firm. Operation Lighthouse Phase 2 is now in effect. Let's remind these aliens why they should have looked more carefully before attacking Earth. The quantum computation chamber pulsed one final time, and throughout the solar system, humanity's hidden strength began to reveal itself. The real battle was about to begin, and Marcus knew that nothing would ever be the same after this day. Counter-strike. Fleet Admiral James Okonjo stood on the bridge of the EDS Sovereign, humanity's first true warship, watching as his fleet emerged from their quantum-shielded hangars within the asteroid belt. For decades, these ships had been disguised as mining vessels and cargo haulers, their true nature hidden beneath layers of deception. All ships reporting ready, Admiral, announced Captain Yuki Tanaka, his second-in-command. The Kraxan fleet remains contained within Dr. Sullivan's quantum fields. James studied the tactical display, where hundreds of human vessels were taking formation. Unlike the sleek, predatory designs of the Kraxan ships, Earth's fleet was deliberately utilitarian, function over form, efficiency over intimidation. Signal the fleet, he ordered, his deep voice carrying the weight of command. Execute Operation Shatterpoint. The human fleet moved with practiced precision, breaking into smaller strike groups. Each vessel carried weapons that had been developed in secret, tested in the dark spaces between planets where no observers could spot them. First wave, engage at will, James commanded. Show them what Earth's primitive technology can do. The lead vessels launched their primary weapons, not energy beams or plasma torpedoes, but swarms of quantum-linked drones. Each drone was barely larger than a human hand, yet carried within it the capability to disrupt any energy system it encountered. Drone swarms have breached their outer defenses, Yuki reported, monitoring the battle data. Their shields are attempting to adapt, but the quantum disruption is proving effective. James watched as the first Kraxan ships began to lose power, their mighty engines sputtering as the drones interfered with their core systems. The alien fleet's formation became ragged as ships tried to compensate for their failing systems. Second wave, move in, he ordered. Target their command and control nodes. Larger ships moved forward now, deploying what appeared to be conventional missiles. But as they approached the Kraxan fleet, they split apart, revealing their true nature, autonomous combat platforms that had been studying and adapting to Kraxan technology since the first shots were fired. Sir, Yuki called out, we're detecting energy spikes throughout their fleet. They're attempting some kind of synchronized counterattack. Just as expected, James nodded. Signal Dr. Sullivan. Tell him to initiate the quantum resonance cascade. Throughout the battlefield, the quantum fields holding the Kraxan fleet began to pulse with new energy. The aliens' attempted counterattack backfired as their own energy weapons created feedback loops within the containment fields, overloading their systems. Multiple Kraxan vessels are going dark, reported Lieutenant Commander Rodriguez from Tactical. Their fleet coordination is breaking down. James allowed himself a small smile. The aliens had expected Earth to fight conventionally, to match strength with strength, weapon with weapon. Instead, humanity had chosen to fight smarter, using the aliens' own power against them. Message from their command ship, Yuki announced. They're requesting terms. No terms, James replied firmly. Not yet. Lieutenant Torres and her team need to complete their mission first. He watched as a small stealth vessel, nearly invisible to both conventional and quantum sensors, slipped through the chaos of battle toward the Kraxan flagship. The next phase of humanity's response was about to begin. All ships, maintain pressure, he ordered. Don't let them regroup or restore their systems. Keep them off balance until we receive confirmation from Lieutenant Torres. The battle continued, but it was no longer the one-sided conquest the Kraxan had expected. Instead, they found themselves trapped, their mighty weapons turned useless, their advanced shields failing against weapons they couldn't detect or counter. Sir, Rodriguez called out, we're detecting unusual energy readings from their flagship. Something's happening inside their command structure. James nodded grimly. Lieutenant Torres is right on schedule. Now we'll see if the Kraxan are as adaptable as they claim to be. The real shock was yet to come, the moment and the aliens would discover that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their technology or their tactics, but their ability to turn an enemy's strength into a weakness. All ships, he commanded, prepare for Phase 4. The real battle for Earth is about to begin. The turning point. Lieutenant Hannah Torres moved silently through the twisted corridors of the Kraxan flagship, her quantum-adaptive suit rendering her nearly invisible. Behind her, 3 members of her elite infiltration team maintained perfect formation, their movements synchronized through neural links. Status report, she subvocalized, the quantum comm system transmitting her words without a sound. Quantum virus uploaded to their primary networks, Sergeant Dmitry Volkov replied. Their internal systems are compromised. They just don't know it yet. The mission had been years in the planning. While the Kraxan fleet battled Earth's forces outside, Hannah's team would strike at the heart of their command structure. Their quantum-adaptive suits, designed by Dr. Sullivan's team, could mimic Kraxan technology signatures, making them appear as nothing more than routine energy fluctuations to alien sensors. Security checkpoint ahead, warned Corporal Fatima Rahman, monitoring the alien ship sensor feeds through their hacked connection. 3 guards, standard rotation. Hannah held up a closed fist, and her team froze. Their suits shifted color and pattern, blending perfectly with the metallic walls. The Kraxan guards passed within inches, their bioluminescent scales pulsing with agitation as reports of the battle outside continued to worsen. They're scared, observed technical specialist Gene Park, the team's technology expert. Their sensors can't explain what's happening to their fleet. Nothing in their combat database matches our tactics. That's because we wrote a whole new book, Hannah replied, leading her team forward once the guards had passed. Movement to Objective Point Delta. Time to show them Chapter 2. They reached a massive door marked with Kraxan military symbols. Beyond it lay the ship's quantum core, the heart of their advanced technology. Gene stepped forward, his suit sensors interfacing with the alien security systems. Beginning quantum override sequence, he reported. Just like we practiced with the captured tech. Hannah watched the corridor while Gene worked, her enhanced senses alert for any sign of detection. The entire mission relied on perfect timing. Their assault had to synchronize with Admiral Okonjo's fleet movements and Dr. Sullivan's quantum field manipulations. Core room secured, Gene announced as the massive door silently slid open. But we've got company coming. Multiple signatures approaching from 3 directions. Right on schedule, Hannah smiled beneath her suit's mask. Begin Phase 2. The team split up, taking precise positions around the quantum core, a massive crystalline structure that pulsed with otherworldly energy. Gene began the delicate process of interfacing their systems with the alien technology while the others prepared for the inevitable confrontation. Enemy forces approaching quantum core, Fatima reported. 50 seconds out. Hannah activated her suit's special systems, technology that had been reverse-engineered from scattered pieces of alien tech collected over decades of secret preparation. Remember, non-lethal takedowns only. We need them alive to witness this. The doors burst open, and Kraxan warriors poured in, their weapons charged. But they froze in confusion as their sensors failed to detect any intruders. The quantum adaptive suits didn't just hide the team, they made them appear as part of the ship's own systems. Integration complete, Jean announced. Quantum core is compromised. Ready for final sequence. Hannah smiled. Execute Protocol Omega. Let's show them what happens when you underestimate humanity. The crystalline core flashed with new energy as Jin's virus took hold. Throughout the massive flagship, systems began to change. But instead of shutting down, they transformed, accepting new commands, new protocols. Message sent to Admiral Okonjo, Fatima confirmed. The flagship is ours. The Kraxan warriors watched in horror as their weapons powered down, their communications went silent, and their mighty ship pledged allegiance to a new master. The quantum virus didn't just disable their technology, it reprogrammed it at the fundamental level. Now, Hannah announced, disengaging her suit's camouflage to stand before the stunned aliens, let's have a chat about surrender terms. I believe Admiral Okonjo is eager to discuss the future of Kraxan-human relations. The aliens stared in disbelief at the small human team that had infiltrated their most secure vessel and turned their own technology against them. It was the moment when the Kraxan Empire learned that true power didn't lie in the size of your fleet or the strength of your weapons, but in the intelligence and adaptability of your people. Victory's price. Colonel Wei Zhang stood at the Tactical Command Center of the lunar base Artemis, watching as the final phase of humanity's defense plan unfolded. The holographic display showed hundreds of Kraxan ships, their once mighty fleet now divided between those under human control and those still fighting a losing battle. Status report from Lieutenant Torres, his communications officer announced. The flagship's quantum core has been fully integrated into our network. All systems responding to human control. Wei nodded, his experienced eyes scanning the battlefield. After 30 years in Earth's defense forces, he had been chosen to coordinate the final stage of Operation Lighthouse. Not because he was the highest-ranking officer, but because he understood something crucial about victory, the importance of offering an honorable path to peace. Open a channel to all remaining Kraxan vessels, he ordered. Both their frequencies and ours. The communications array hummed to life, and Wei spoke in a clear, measured voice. This is Colonel Wei Zhang of Earth's Defense Force. You have witnessed the capture of your flagship and the compromise of your fleet. But we are not here to destroy you. The tactical display showed the remaining Kraxan ships holding position, their weapons powered but not firing. Through the quantum network, Wei could sense their confusion, their disbelief at how completely their invasion had been turned around. Your technology is impressive, he continued, but you failed to understand something fundamental about humanity. We don't just adapt to challenges, we transform them into advantages. Dr. Sullivan's voice came through on a private channel. Quantum field matrix is stable, Colonel. Ready to proceed with the demonstration. Wei touched a control, and throughout the solar system, humanity's hidden strength became fully visible. Quantum fields shimmered into view, revealing a vast network of defenses and installations that had been invisible until now. The Kraxan fleet found itself not just defeated, but completely encompassed by human technology they hadn't even known existed. We could disable your remaining ships, Wei explained to the watching aliens. We could reprogram your quantum cores as we did your flagships. But that is not our way. Instead, we offer you a choice. He gestured, and the quantum field shifted, opening clear paths for the Kraxan ships to either retreat or move toward designated diplomatic coordinates. You can leave our solar system, return to your empire, and spread the word that Earth is not to be trifled with. Or, he paused meaningfully, you can stay, not as conquerors, but as partners. Your technology merged with ours could open new frontiers for both our species. The minutes stretched out as the Kraxan commanders deliberated. Wei watched calmly, remembering all the years of preparation, the countless simulations and strategies that had led to this moment. Finally, movement. One by one, Kraxan ships began moving toward the diplomatic coordinates. Not all, some turned and fled toward the system's edge, but enough remained to matter. Signal from the Kraxan second-in-command, his communications officer reported. They're requesting technological exchange protocols. Wei smiled. This was humanity's true victory, not just defeating an enemy, but transforming them into potential allies. The quantum virus that Lieutenant Torres's team had uploaded wasn't designed to destroy Kraxan technology, but to demonstrate how it could be enhanced by working with human systems. Begin diplomatic protocols, he ordered. And send word to all Earth forces, Operation Lighthouse is complete. We have achieved our primary objective. As the Kraxan ships moved into position for the first official diplomatic contact, Wei thought about how this day would be remembered. Not as the day humanity defeated a superior force, but as the day they proved that true strength lies not in the ability to destroy, but in the wisdom to transform conflict into cooperation. Send a final message to all ships, he commanded. Both human and Kraxan. The real work begins now. Today, we start building something new together. The stars watched silently as former enemies began the delicate process of becoming allies, and humanity's first major interstellar crisis came to an end not with destruction, but with the promise of a new beginning.